Good morning everyone from Schokland. Schokland is the smallest village in the Netherlands with 5 inhabitants. Well, why is it so small? Why does it only have 5 inhabitants? It's like it could be a family living here, 2 parents and 3 children. Well, the story behind Schokland is that there was an island here in the province of Flevoland when there was still the sea around it, but then little by little the sea started washing away all of the island until there was nothing else, and at some point they needed to evacuate the whole population of this island. And then in the 20th century, I think after the Second World War, with the project of the Afsluitdijk, so the dike built or designed by Mr. Lely to regain the land from the sea, gave back this land to the village of Schokland, but also with it all the area around it, so that it was not an island anymore. It became part of the continent. First it was part of, like, it was a peninsula itself. It was only joined with the rest of the continent through a small piece of land, a corridor, but then it became a full part of the continent. And with rising sea levels, it's possible that it will become an island again, or that it will be swept away by the sea. But for now, it is the village of Schokland with 5 inhabitants and a beautiful museum that we're gonna visit today, although we did come quite early and it's not open yet. So this is how it looks like here. It's all land. You cannot see the sea from here, even though in the past you could, because it was an island. And that's the museum of Schokland. Back to the sea with this boat, and if you put your head inside of here, you will hear noises of the sea. So a kind of a reminder that this here was the sea, and that was Schokland. It was an island, and there were many fishermen and sailors, and now you have this. It's almost June here in the Netherlands, and it's very cold today. It's like 10 degrees or even 9 when the wind is hitting. That's why I'm fully equipped with a jacket and the hoodies on. So yeah, very, very strange that we have this weather. The sea around Schokland, which was this island here, as you can see. So this sea was very rough, very stormy, and sailors were very happy when they could see Schokland on the horizon, because they knew it was a safe place to harbor, to stop with their ship and have a rest. How can you describe Schokland? Well, I would say pretty empty. There's a path that goes around Schokland, or the rests of Schokland, but there's not much. I mean, there are some points of interest where you can have a look at the history of Schokland, how it was in the past and how it came to be what it is now. But other than that, there's not much to see. So you can see this is the path. It's a very long path, and all of that was Schokland. It was a big village, and yeah, now it's only that museum with a couple of houses from the 5 inhabitants of the village. Here you have a simple well from which they used to take water from, because it's quite deep. Yeah. And these are the surroundings. What used to be a village. All of the village was wiped out in a flood in 1825. So yes, in the 19th century. And yeah, 13 people died, 1 horse, 17 calves and 16 sheep. The rest was evacuated. So yeah. A seashell, still from the sea. And this behind me are the ruins of a church. This is how it looks now. So after a long walk we have arrived to the village that is open now, the museum. So now we are gonna check out the museum, and yeah, they also have a restaurant. They have several things and 5 inhabitants. And by the way, if you wanna use your phone here, mobile data, it's no problem because you have 5G for 5 inhabitants.
Wat kan ik?
Museum zoeken.
Hier. En u hoort allemaal bij elkaar?
Ja.
Met z'n vieren?
Ja.
Ja, oké.
Dank u wel.
Is een Nederlandse plattegrond afdoende?
Ja, prima. Ja.
Ja. When I take off my hoodie, I look like this. These are fossils from the Ice Age, so that movie, you know. So they were walking on this island, Schokland, and these were the fossils that were found here. So if you're an archaeologist, you would take a spade like this and start to dig here. Oh, I found a piece. So now I can clean it with a brush. And there you have it. A rest from antiquity. As you can see, after 5 minutes of digging and brushing, I was able to discover many jars. As you can see, in the Middle Ages, around the 13th, 14th century, you had this piece of land still away from the sea, and then it started becoming smaller and smaller because it was all washed away by the sea, until there was only this. You can see it was a peninsula, and then it became a small narrow island until At some point in the 19th century, that was also washed away. These are three materials that people used to use to protect themselves from the rising sea levels. We first have seagrass, and then we have wood as an example, and also basalt. Nowadays we use more modern methods, but in the end this would still be valid. Here you can see some pieces of some objects that were used by people who were living on this island. Of course, still 5 people live on this island, but in the past it was more populated. You can see some bottles, glasses, jars, ornamentation. So here, jewels. So, yeah. And then suddenly, all of this, goes under the sea. This island was divided into two. In the north you had Amelord, where the population remained Catholic and loyal to Amsterdam, and in the south you had Ens, where people were Protestant and preferred to be governed by the province of Overijssel. You can also see it in the costumes. They are very different, and they were not allowed to marry each other or be friends with each other. It was very divided.
Vanaf mijn jongensjaren ben ik altijd met de visserij bezig geweest. Ik was geloof ik 10 jaar toen ik voor het eerst meeging op de schuit van mijn opa. Wij hebben het altijd over de schuit.
In the 19th century, the inhabitants of the island are presented with a very difficult situation. The island is gonna be flooded, and there's a lot of poverty, so there's no other way than to evacuate the population to other places in the Netherlands. Most people went to Kampen and to other places nearby, where they kept doing their profession as fishermen and sailors. Of course, they also got a very good remuneration for evacuating from the government, so that they could continue with their lives and buy a house and kind of settle down. But it's very sad, because just after that the sea started to claim land until the island completely disappeared. Through the construction of the Afsluitdijk, so the dam that kind of dried up the whole surroundings, the island of Schokland became part of the mainland. But nowadays we have another problem, which is that the ground below this area is subsiding. It's going down. So it's possible that it becomes over flooded again, but not by the sea, but the groundwater. So there's still a lot of risk that this place goes underwater again. And in 1995, Schokland and the surrounding area became part of the World Cultural and Natural Heritage. We are inside a church that was possibly rebuilt. Looks like a Protestant church. Here I do not need to explain anything. It's one nave, no transept. Pretty simple. And inside the church there's an exposition about art from the sea. So paintings of boats, of the sea, rivers. This is a boat that is covered by all sorts of porcelain and yeah, tiles. I think it's I mean, this kind of porcelain is from nearby, it's not far away. It's a place called Delft, where we are also going, and yeah, they make this type of porcelain there, so it's very typical of that area. And yeah, they built a monument with this. This is the plaque that announced to the inhabitants of Schokland before they were only 5 that they needed to evacuate the island. And over here you have an example of the defenses that they were using to protect themselves from the rising sea levels, that in the end, yeah, it didn't have a lot of success because they couldn't keep the sea away from the houses. Around the time that the flood happened, so around the 19th century, the water was at this level, so the houses couldn't keep up with that and they were wiped away by the sea. In 1916 it went a bit lower, the level, but still not very, yeah, not, you couldn't really build anything here. There was also, I mean, the level was rising again after a while, and yeah, it was just too risky. Just before the whole place was flooded, it was very tricky to walk here between places. There was only one very narrow platform that joined the different towns and the different houses of this island, and it is said that no one, like, they were scared to see another person coming up towards them on the same platform, so that whenever that happened they had to hug each other and kind of, yeah, switch sides without trying to fall. And it's called the Schokland dance, so the dance of Schokland. So that was Schokland, the beautiful island that became part of the mainland of the Netherlands, and this now the village with 5 inhabitants, the smallest village of the Netherlands. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, it would mean a lot if you like, subscribe and comment. Next up we have Urk, the most conservative place of the Netherlands. Very careful with these cookies here that were in the museum. They sell them as traditional cookies, and it even says here the ingredients of the original recipe. But if you look here, well, apart from the horrendous price, you can see the ingredients are completely different. They are much more unhealthy, like wheat flour, sugar, sunflower oil, so very bad, and also many E numbers.